Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Another Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. I'm so excited today because today is the first day of seed starting officially for the spring, summer 2020-23. Did I say 2020, 23? 2023. Getting a little bit ahead of myself. So y'all, it is cold and rainy today. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks. I'm finally back home and glad to be home, but it is a soupy mess, a soupy mess. I don't even know if you can see it behind me, but it's just rainy, dreary, gloomy. And it's kind of cool in the tunnel. It's 50 degrees because, when I came back in town, it was, about 80 something degrees in the tunnel. And so I opened up the door and one of the sides and didn't close it last night. So it's like 50 degrees in here. So it's not warm and toasty like I would normally want it to be. But today is the first day of seed starting. If you did not see my video that I posted, I think it was last week, where I talked to you about how I was going to start seeds in terms of the sequence, the order, and kind of how I organized my seed starting, definitely go back and watch that video. But if you are new to starting seeds, and you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, then follow along with me today because I'm going to walk you through how to start seeds if you are a beginner and if you're brand new, and how I do it. Now, I said this many a times before. The first time I started seeds, it was an epic failure, okay? Epic failure, epic. Didn't get anything. And so that was in 2020, right? When I first started my journey of trying to start a garden. And then in 21, I didn't start seeds. I didn't even try because I was intimidated. And then last year in 2022, I started seeds again and I had success. So for those that are brand new to me, I'm in zone 7A. I'm in Tennessee, and I have a tunnel which I'm standing in. That's a 30 by 96. I have 5 raised beds behind my house, and I have a 22 by 96 in-ground garden. So I have like 5,000 feet of growing space. So it's a lot. And I didn't start that way. So if you haven't seen my journey, definitely catch up, binge watch, do all the things. I started with 5 raised beds behind my house. And then over time, over the last 2 years, I've, added this stuff in. But trying to buy transplants for a 5,000 square feet growing space, it is quite expensive and not very economical. So it behooves me to learn how to start seeds so that I can get what I need to get done, right? But there's nothing wrong with buying transplants, right? If you have the ability to do that, the budget, and you just don't want to fool with starting seeds, by all means, do you. But if you want to learn how to start seeds, or you've been unsuccessful, or you want some more tips, then this is the video for you. Okay, guys, so let's jump into it. Let's start some seeds, okay? So again, starting seeds, it is not as intimidating as you think. If I can do it, you can do it too. First thing is, you want to have what you're going to plant your seeds in. So let me show you what I used. Majority of my seeds last year I planted was using this, a seed starting potting mix. I use this for probably maybe 60% of my starts, and then it just got to be too expensive to buy these little bitty bags and all of that. The thing about this, especially if you're a new seed starter indoors, and we're going to be doing this indoors, I know I'm in the tunnel, but I'm starting them right here, but it's going to immediately go in my house, and that's where we're going to kind of, baby them, take care of them before they get ready to go out and, into the wild, okay? So this seed starting mix is light and fluffy, so it's very easy. Let me see if you can see that. It's very easy for roots to develop, and they develop faster. But keep in mind, this does not have any nutrients, okay? So if you're going to up pot means you start off in a medium, a soil block or whatever that's really, really small, and then it's still not time to put it out in the ground, and you need to transfer it to a bigger pot so the roots can develop. That is what you call up potting, right? So it's like going from a small size pot to a bigger pot. That's called up potting. So if you're going to have to up pot, right, you're going to want, when you up pot, you're going to want to use a potting mix that has some type of fertilizer in it, right? So just keep that in mind. And a lot of stuff, if you're starting it too early and it's not ready to go into the ground by the time it develops in whatever container you first start in, then you're going to have to up pot it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your plant because the roots are going to get root bound, or it's not going to be able to have enough space to grow. Okay. But for me, I started using a potting mix, and that works out better for me because I can get it in bulk and get it in bigger quantities. So I don't even use the seed starting mix anymore. Can I? Yes, I can. But I just use the potting mix because most of my things are going to get up potted, and that way I can already have the nutrients in there. Or if I'm going to put it directly in the ground, that works too. Okay. So you need some type of soil, a seed starting mix or a potting mix. The second thing you need is something to put your seeds in, to start your seeds in. There are many different things to start seeds in. You can do soil blocks, and I have a video on soil blocking if you want to know how to do that. Excuse me. I have a video on soil blocking. If you want to know how to do that, I'll link it up above. I've showed you that before. But if you're a new seed starter, more than likely you don't have a soil blocker and you don't know what that is. Okay. But can you do it? Yes, you can. The other thing you can do is use pots. I started a lot of seeds in these 2.5-inch pots from Bootstrap Farmer. That is another option. Another option is to use what we call plug trays, right? So this right here is what you would call a plug tray. Let me show you the back of it. You can see that, and let me show you to it from the side. Okay, it's called a plug tray because it's like little plugs, right? This is called a P200. So there are literally 200 seeds you can start in this one tray. Now you may say, why would I use this versus this? Okay, great question. Number one, this is less space. So if you're starting a lot of seeds, like I'm starting a lot of seeds, this is going to be a lot less space. I got 200 in this one footprint versus this goes in a 1020 tray that has a 32 cell insert. Excuse me, 32 cell insert. So the same amount of space, I'll have 32 of these versus 200. Okay. So that's the reason why some people use plug trays, because you can get more and it's going to take up less space, right? The thing with this is that you want to get a quality plug tray. Now, this is my first time using the P200. I used last time, it was 128 tray. It was a little bit of a different shape and it was a little bit smaller, and the plug size, like this part here, was more round versus this is more vertical, as you can see. Okay, but I'm going to use a P200 tray today and see if I can have some success. Okay, so I told you that and I'm going to do a video on this. I went to this farm workshop a couple of weeks ago. It was absolutely amazing. They used P200 trays and their stuff was just, you could just pluck it out, right? You didn't have to pop it. And the reason why I didn't like using the plug trays I used last year is because it was too hard for me to get the plant out, right? So I was having to go up here and pop and try to maneuver it out. That took too much time. So I vowed I was never going to use a plug tray again. I was going to keep using my pots and take up all the space. But because I went to that farm workshop and I saw them use this tray, I'm going to try it and we're going to see what happens. Okay. So that's another option. So you have soil blocks, you have 2.5-inch pots, you have plug trays. Also, this is another option. You can see this here. I got this from Tractor Supply. This is like a block of 8, and they come out in these nice, this is like a silicone. So it makes it easy to push it up and to get it out. But you can see when it gets done, you have a nice little square thing to put in the ground. So it makes it easy to transplant. I bought these at the beginning of my seed starting journey last year. I will not buy any more of these, only because it's not practical for me, right? I can only get 8 in here. They have a bigger one that I bought that has 16. But because I've already bought it, I like it and I will use it for certain things, but I won't buy any more. But for you, if you're growing smaller and you like that, then go to Tractor Supply and pick up one and see if you like it. So my point is, there are many different things to start seeds in. You can also do like those red solo cups that people have at birthday parties. I've never tried it, but I've seen plenty of videos where people have done that. And you just drill a hole in the bottom so that the water can come out. But at the end of the day, do what your budget allows and do what works for you. But whatever you do, do something, right? If you are intimidated about starting seeds, if you want to start seeds, do it. Try it. Give it. If you tried it before, give it another try. Give it another try, because once you learn how to start seeds and start your own seeds, that's another skill that you have in your tool belt that is going to just exponentially help you in growing food. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay, so let me turn you. Okay, so what I've already done is I've filled all of my trays with a potting soil mix. Okay, I am using a brand called Batco, Batco is what I'm using. I used it a couple of weeks ago and I really, really liked it. Y'all know me, I'm always experimenting, I'm always trying. And today we are going to use 2 of these, this one, and a plug tray. Okay, so let's talk about what we're starting. And again, go watch my video that I did or released last week where I talked about what I'm starting and when. And so every week up until it's time to plant stuff out, I'm going to be starting seeds every single Sunday. And on Mondays, I will be transplanting or direct sowing if there's something to be done that week. Okay, that's my schedule. There's nothing magical about Sundays at all. Okay, it's just when I have the time to do it. But my point is, every week I'm starting seeds on something new. And in that video, I talked about why I'm doing it that way and also what I'm starting each, like how I kind of organized what I'm starting, right? So what we're starting today is eucalyptus, rosemary, parsley, snapdragons, which is a flower for early spring, lettuce, collards, spinach, and broccoli. That's what we're starting today, okay? And so we are 12 weeks from my last estimated frost date. My last estimated frost date is April the 20th. We are 12 weeks away from that. So these are the things that can be started indoors 12 weeks before, okay? So I have my soil already in here. I have my labels already made. Okay, so I know what's going where. And I have pre-moistened the soil. So definitely, once you fill up your soil and all that, make your labels. It just makes it a lot easier. Pre-moisten your soil, so that way when you put your seeds in there, the soil is already moist. Because what happens is, if you don't pre-moisten it and then you want to water your seeds after you've already put them in there, you run the risk of your seeds, jumping up, or you putting too much water on it, or getting too buried down into the soil. So pre-moisten your soil first, and then you can go through and do your seeds, okay? So I'm gonna time lapse this part. Basically, I have my soil, I've pre-moistened it, I have my labels, so I know exactly what's going to go where, and I'm just gonna get to planting or starting seeds. Okay guys, so just like that, everything is seeded except the parsley and rosemary. Obviously I must have left it at home. I was being so organized, I had all my stuff together. That's why organization is key. But apparently I must have left that one container on the counter because I cannot find it for nothing. But everything is seeded. So we did snapdragons, lettuce, spinach, broccoli, collards, and eucalyptus. I'll take the parsley and spinach, the parsley and the rosemary, and I'll just plop them in there when I get to the house. So now we're gonna cover it with a layer of vermiculite. I'll be honest, this is my first time using this, but I saw this at a farm workshop that I went to, and so I'm gonna try it. It's supposed to help it keep the moisture down and control the moisture so that you don't get any fungus to grow, and to kind of just give it a light covering of the vermiculite. So let me show you. This is kind of what it looks like. I just bought like a little pack from Amazon because I wanted to try it for the first time. But basically, let's see. I got hubby out here helping me. So you can see kind of what it looks like, and I'm just going to spread this lightly over like that. So not a whole lot, because you want your seeds to be able to come through. But I'm going to just lightly put that over all of the seeds as a very light covering, and that's supposed to help with the moisture, it dampening off, and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to try, and I'm sure many of you have probably already used vermiculite. I've heard about it. I've just never used it. So again, I'll tell you, I didn't use it last season, and my seedlings grew just fine. Now I did have some that got maybe too waterlogged because I put too much moisture. So we're going to try it and see what happens. So we're going to keep doing this, and we're almost done. I'm going to tell you what to do after this. Okay, so I have the vermiculite over all of it. So let me tell you this part when it comes to seed starting and how I did it and how I had success. So all of these I'm going to transport inside. I have racks, like the stainless steel, I think it's like a 6-shelf rack. I have those in my house, and I have a grow light on each rack except the very, very top one. And I will show you this on a future video when I'm in the house, but I don't want to have this. Anyway, let me just tell you. So I'm going to take this in the house, and I'm going to put it on a heat mat, right? So no lights yet. Unless you have a seed that says on the back of the packet, light aids germination. And those are usually going to be seeds that are really, really, really tiny. And the packet is going to say surface sow. So if your seed does not fall in that category, it more than likely needs heat to germinate, not light. There are some seeds that need light to germinate, right? There are some flower seeds that need light to germinate. And it'll say it on the packet, light aids germination, or surface sow, light aids germination, something like that. But for the most part, for the things that I am starting, they all are going to need a level of heat to germinate the seed. So I'm going to take these in the house. I'm going to put them on that shelf. I'm going to put them on a heat mat, and I'm going to cover them with a humidity dome. Okay? This is really important. Heat is going to help your seeds to germinate. They need heat unless it says otherwise. Once the seed has germinated and it starts to poke through, as soon as I see that happen, I take it off heat, I take off the humidity dome, and I immediately put it under grow lights. And that has been one of the keys that has helped. A lot of times you're leaving it too long on the heat mat, and you have sprouts that have more than germinated. They are poking through. You can start to see the stem, and you still have it on heat, and you're not giving it light. That is how you get leggy plants. Leggy, L-E-G-G-Y. That means your plants are starting to reach for the light, and they're growing tall, looking for light, but you still have it on heat, covered up under the humidity dome. So let me walk through it again. I'm going to take them in the house, put them on the shelf, put them on a heat mat, cover them with a humidity dome. I'm going to check them every day to make sure they have enough water. Okay? I'm going to mist them if they need water. I usually don't pour. Either I'm going to do bottom watering, or I'm going to use a spray bottle, and I'm going to mist them so that I don't overwater. Usually that takes about I would say 48 to 96 hours. Within 2 to 4 days, I'm usually seeing some germination on some of my stuff, depending on what the seed is. Now, when we get to tomatoes and peppers, they take a while to germinate. But for this stuff that I planted, I would say within 3 to 4 days, I will probably see some germination. Once I see the germination, I take it off of the heat mat. I remove the humidity dome and I put it under grow lights for most of the day, usually about 12 hours. Okay? And that is what I do every single day. I turn the grow lights on for about 10 to 12 hours. I turn it off at night and I repeat the same thing. And I'm always checking for moisture, right? I'm always checking to see if it needs water. Be careful not to overwater, okay? The other thing that's really important, and what I did last year that gave me a level of success, is that I put a small fan. Once they started to grow a little bit, I started to put a small fan on my seedlings and help have the fan on to blow on the seedlings. Here's the reason why. It helps your stems become strong, and the fan is simulating the wind outside, because remember, they're indoors. And what happens is, if you keep them indoors and then by the time you take them out to transplant them, if you don't harden them off and get them used to the outside conditions, then a wind is going to feel really, really strong to your little baby seedling, right? But if you put a fan on them, the fan is simulating like the wind. It is making your stems stronger. Okay, so I put a fan on them for a couple of hours a day or 45 minutes here and there. Just, when you're starting off, you got space, you got, time, and you have the opportunity to put the fan. Once you have a rack full of seedlings, it becomes a little bit more challenging to navigate the fan, the lights, and all of that. So I may start off and they may be on the fan for like 4 hours. By the time it's all said and done and we're 4 weeks into this thing, they may be on the fan 45 hours and I'm switching out trays and fans, right? So there is work and a process involved, but that is how I had success last year. Okay? So I hope that this helped you in terms of starting seed indoors. I hope that it encouraged someone who has never, ever, ever done it before. If you have questions, please leave them below. If I wasn't clear on something, please leave it below, because I want you to get this. And if you've been an expert at starting seeds and there's something that I missed, or there's a different way that you do it that has been successful, please put that down below as well. We're all a community trying to learn and grow together. So I'm excited because we're officially kicking off the spring and summer season. I hope that you go ahead and get your seeds started depending on what zone you're in. It may not be your time yet, or you may be ahead of me, who knows? But whatever you do, make sure that you dabble and start somewhere. Start somewhere this spring and garden season and start your own seeds, and you'll save yourself a ton of money instead of buying all those transplants at the store. I hope this helped. I'll keep taking you along with me as we go. And so maybe next week I'll start in the house or show you in the house the lights and all that good stuff, and we'll just keep walking through. We got a whole season, right? So whatever I didn't get on this video, I'll make sure that I get on subsequent videos. Remember, this is all a journey. If you like what you're seeing on my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when I'm going live, and share it with a neighbor, with a friend. I really want people to grow their own food. And so this is one small step in that direction. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe. And remember, we are all on a journey. Let's grow together. See you next time.